G'day, it's Mark here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you enjoyed the last episode I did, which was the Falcon XC. It seems to have gone down really well, so that's great. Interestingly, one of my subscribers, Dave, responded and said that he had heard that there was a Playboy Falcon hardtop concept that was put forward by designer Herb Grass, and I'll talk about him in a little bit more detail shortly, but that was a concept that was put forward before the Cobra was produced. There was 400 bodies left over the tooling, or I guess they'd had the panels pressed, and they needed to use those up before the XC model finished, and this concept was put forward. So as you can see here by this illustration, this was a design concept that American designer Herb Grass put forward. Now, Herb Grass was an interesting character, pretty sort of out there kind of guy, based on some of the stories I've heard and what I've read about him. He worked for a year at Dodge and worked on some of the grill updates for things like the Dodge Challenger, taillight designs, things like that. Also decal packages, and also I don't know if it was him personally that was responsible, but there was there was a time when Ford was marketing things like Grabber Blue and Grabber Orange, and Chrysler marketing decided to seek some input from the design team at Chrysler for some names for their colours. So they had Grabber Cherry. They had mediocre as a colour. Some of the other colours were Come and Get Me Copper, Statutory Grape, which pretty choice, and others like that. So anyway, that was the last time the marketing department asked the design department for any feedback on colour and trims. There's another story where Herb Grass wanted to take some clay, home modelling clay, for a work on a project that he was doing at home, and so he parked his pickup truck below the styling studio, where the below the window there, so he could literally drop some clay bricks out of the window 3 stories up into the back of the truck. But that didn't go too well because there must have been a bit of a wind blowing. It blew off course, and it landed on the security guard shed roof. So the guy came out with his ears ringing, and anyway, that was one of the stories. But Herb Grass was it was quite a character, and probably not your normal sort of designer. Wasn't necessarily someone who's wearing finely tailored suits and things like that. He's kind of his own person, and it sounds like a pretty cool guy, actually. He spent only a year at Dodge, then he went over to Ford, and eventually he was transferred to Ford Australia, where he worked on things like the Ford Laser, the first Laser, the KA. He worked on the Ford Telstar. But he also did work on the XD Falcon. He worked, and I'll cover that off when I do my XD Falcon episode. He did things like the Moonraker 007 show car. He also did the Waltzing Matilda truck, Ford Louisville. He did the Bricklin Gullwing car. So he had quite a few projects to his name. But anyway, the story behind this episode is around the Playboy edition Falcon hardtop. When you look at the design concepts, it looks more like a Fairmont, actually. It's got the rectangular headlights. It's got a treatment on the bonnet scoops there, where there's some additional elements added. It's got different wheels, unique seats with Playboy insignia embroidered into the seats. I think they were going to be black and gold, is my understanding. And look, probably would have been fairly controversial, but they probably would have sold back in the day. And as racy as the 1970s were with, Benny Hill on TV and all those sorts of things, wasn't really the most politically correct decade. It's probably one of my favourites, though. But even for that period, it was deemed to be a bit too out there, to have a Playboy edition. I guess you've got the Ford family, fairly conservative. You've got Edsel Ford too, vice president marketing, working there as well. So I think would have been fairly conservative, I guess, back in the day. But it's just interesting to see that Herb put these concepts forward, and this sketch still exists, and these drawings and renderings still exist. So it's just really interesting part of Ford Australia design history. And the more I dug into it, the more I learned about Herb Grass as a designer. Unfortunately, he passed away back in, I think, 2010 at age 65 of pancreatic cancer. It was a real shame because, he seems like he was a real character, and he had some very interesting vehicles to his name, and he strikes me as someone who didn't really like the status quo, wasn't going to sort of play the company line, and was someone who, was a bit of a maverick and sort of just did his own thing. So he actually became senior designer for Ford Asia Pacific. So he certainly reached some high levels of corporate life. He ultimately started up his own design practice out of Arizona. I think he also used to do artwork, I don't know if they were landscapes or whatever, but he also did architectural models for high-end homes and commercial properties. But that was Herb Grass, and an interesting period in Ford Australia design history, the Ford Playboy edition, again, killed off by the snake, the cobra. That's what ultimately happened to those 400 bodies. So anyway, thought you might like that bit of history. Thanks very much, Dave, for giving me that little tip. I dug into that a little further, and thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribed. Some people, I believe, have subscribed, but then when they've checked, they've been unsubscribed. I don't know, some YouTube thing going on there. So to make sure you subscribe, please hit the like button, and look forward to more episodes on a whole range of vehicles. But in this current series, keep an eye out for the next one, which will be the XD Falcon, and make sure you check out all the previous Falcon episodes from XK right through to XC. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.